Welcome, everybody.
Hi.
This is the iBug Android Insight Call for Wednesday, June 19th, 2024. Welcome, everybody, because this on this call, we're all about Android. Whether you have a smartphone, the cell phone, a Samsung, or a Pixel. It doesn't matter what platform you are running off of. We talk about Android. We come together to share ideas, share apps, share our own experiences, and to help each other navigate the wonderful world of Android. My name is Ava Caruth. I'm actually in Houston, Texas now. I am one of your hosts for the iBug Android call. My co-host, Hershey, will be on board hopefully soon. But I just want to welcome everybody. And right now I have my backup is Julie. Julie, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Julie. I'm in Houston, and I gotta go back.
All right, thank you, Julie. Well, everybody, I'm gonna do a little bit of housekeeping. Um, iBug has a lot of things going on for the month of June. So if you want to find out the full list of what's going on, please go to ibugtoday.com and you will find everything on there from what's going on with iBug as far as the iPhones, the Macintalk, the iBuzz, as well as our Android Insight Call. If you missed the show, that's a great way to go back and catch up with us. And also, you can sign up for their monthly newsletter, which will give you a list of what's going on every month as well. Also, the next iBug event that's coming up will be this Friday, and it is the Summer of Soul movie. So it's an audio described movie that they start at 8 o'clock, 7:45 is the social hour. So come on and join in. It is on the same Zoom link that you're on for our Android Insight call. So a little bit more. So this is about what's going on. So welcome everybody to the show. I would like everybody to go around and just give a brief introduction of who you are, where you're calling from. If you're new, please let us know how did you hear about us and what type of Android device you have. So I'm going to open up the floor to anybody that wants to introduce themselves.
Hi, this is Janice. I'm from Maryland. I have a Galaxy Z Fold 4, and I'm a returning Android Insight participant.
Welcome, Janice. Welcome back, too.
Thank you, Ava.
Okay.
I'll take a stab at it. Hello,
Go ahead.
everyone. I'm Quentin.
All right.
I'm in Houston, Texas. I also have a Z Fold 5, returning participant of the iBug, which has been pretty awesome. I have a lot of devices that use Android, so I have too many.
Y'all. Well, welcome, Quentin. And I hear Hershey has come in. So, anybody else would like to introduce themselves?
Hi, this is Renee from the Cleveland area.
Hey, welcome, Renee. Or should I say welcome back? Okay. And anybody else would like to introduce?
You hear me
Barely.
now? Okay, let's see.
There you go. Yes.
Yeah, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, this is Carol Hazelette and I'm in Sedona, Arizona. And I found out about your Zoom from Frank Vance at the Arizona Center for the Blind. And I don't know a lot about iBug at all, so I'm gonna listen a lot. But I have a
Oh no, you're good.
She's got music.
That's just our background music coming in. So go ahead, Carol.
Oh my gosh. Okay, this is distracting. I have a Jitterbug smartphone. I don't know if it's a smart too. And I've never done I only have I'm not totally blind. I have 1/4 of my vision. Okay. So I'm lucky in that way. And it's been about 17 years, and my vision keeps getting a little bit better. And I don't get around a lot. When you were talking about your bus rides, I remember trying to ride the bus in Phoenix, and I absolutely hated it. So I did everything possible to avoid that. Anyway, that's it. Thank you.
Well, welcome, Carol. And Carol, if you have any Echo or Alexa devices, we talk about those as well as Google devices, because they run on the Android platform. Okay.
Okay, and I have no clues about any of that stuff. Okay. So I'm very behind.
Oh no, well, you're in the right place to learn.
Thank you. Okay. I will listen.
Okay. All right. Yes. Anybody else would like to introduce themselves?
This is Foster Brown, regular here at iBug Android Insight. And I'm also part of the Z Fold cult. I have a Z Fold 3 and a ton of other Android operated devices.
Well, I'm glad to hear you, Foster. Y'all make me want a Z Fold. I've seen Fosters, but I'm gonna be strong.
Z Fold.
Come to the Z Fold family. You won't turn back.
Yeah, I've seen that Z Fold. I know I won't turn back. All right. Anybody else would like to introduce themselves? Okay.
Well, Ava, good morning from India again, and this will be my last episode out here from India, but glad to be back onto the show.
Oh, welcome back, Hershey.
Thank you.
I'll be glad to switch places with you, but go ahead.
Come on by, anybody.
All right, everybody. If nobody else would like to introduce themselves, we are going to go ahead and open up the floor for any comments or questions or any concerns you have.
This is Renee.
Yes, Renee.
I had sent out an email about some of the work I was doing with the Google Disability Help Desk, and they've been helpful, but they were asking me to do something where I put the phone in developer mode along with some other things. So, well, one thing I had trouble with, and I thought I did it correctly, but has anybody ever had trouble when they're trying to do a screen record and record the audio, and the audio not record? And I could have sworn I checked that little box where it said, record audio, so they could hear the talk back. And but it hasn't worked. Has anybody else had problems with that? I was just curious.
Hey, this is Hershey. According to the two devices, Samsung and Pixels. Samsung does tend to be a little bit better when it comes to the audio recording. However, Android 15 is significantly changing some of the recording features. I've had my Pixel 6 Pro work decently with it, but then again, I have a case that's around my phone, and it tends to give a better off echo of the speech. So I have heard this, that sometimes the speech does not want to come through. Yes, there is the checkboxes of turning on the, I want to say, media, and there are about 3 checkboxes, I believe. And it's kind of a hit and miss. I found it to not always carry over to TalkBack voice over to the recording. But if anybody else has some more insight, I would love to hear from you.
This is Kevin. Another thing that you can do with or without the developer settings on is you can go into advanced under TalkBack settings, and you can enable it to where it is displaying the text. It displays the text of what TalkBack is saying if you're having trouble with the recording, or you can do it. And I don't believe that the developer options have to be turned on, but that actually shows exactly what TalkBack is saying.
In the advanced TalkBack settings, you can have it display the text.
Let me see. It is TalkBack settings, advanced. Wait, you can go to developers. Yes. So you go to developer settings, and it says display speech output.
Okay. All right. That's when the developer mode is on?
No, I don't have developer on on right now.
Okay.
Just go into the TalkBack settings, advanced, and then developer settings.
Okay. I will do that. Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns, thoughts?
I do have one other question that I think is simple for somebody. My updates aren't coming through automatically. Is there a setting in the Play Store, or do you have to do it for every app to make it update automatically?
Ms. Renee, which phone are we speaking of?
Pixel 8 Pro.
Yeah, typically the updates will come through if you go to your settings and then go under systems, and you'll have software updates under there. There's 2 sections. One is for software updates for your OS, and then the second half of it shows the updates for your apps. However, you could also go to your Play Store and update from that way as well.
Yeah, I've been manually updating, but I just wanted to go ahead and update because I don't have any junk on my phone. So, okay. All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
This is Kevin.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Even when you have the automatic updates checked, that is in settings, automatic updates, sometimes it doesn't always update the app. So sometimes you'll look and it will say, updated, 1 hour ago, and all your apps are up to date. And then sometimes you'll go and you'll look and you'll see that it says 18 updates available. A lot of times plugging it up to power will trigger the updates, but they don't come through automatically. Even if you're if you have automatic updates turned on in the Galaxy Store, they don't update automatically either for some reason.
Does anything
sometimes
like
they do and sometimes they don't.
Does anything like putting your phone in do not disturb mode at night, will that stop it from getting updates?
I don't think so. I've never tried. I don't use Do Not Disturb that much. I have it on now, but that's very rare that I turn on Do Not Disturb because I'll forget to turn it off. And then people start screaming.
My guess would be no, because I get updates all time of day. So it's not just at night.
Yeah, this is Foster. Sometimes too, your battery has to be sometimes it has to be at a certain percentage to do updates. So I notice sometimes if my battery is really low or it's in battery saver mode, it will not do the automatic updates.
And also, some are Wi-Fi versus, just your data plan too may play effect with it. Because some updates, they'll go over the Wi-Fi.
Would beat me. I didn't know my mic was muted. Sorry, it's Quentin. I was going to say the same thing. The Wi-Fi over mobile data usually plays a pretty big factor if you don't have it set.
Okay.
Dark glasses detected. Pin unlocked. Pro. Device unlocked. Leg pain or cramping when walking. That's up.
Well, if that's satisfactory, does anybody else have any other questions or thoughts? Well, just a question. Is anybody excited about the new Pixel 9 lineups coming up out in October?
I try not to get excited when I know I'm not buying another phone.
That's true. That's true. And I'm hearing that the Fold might even come out with it. So you have a Pixel 9, 9 Pro, 9 XL, and then a Fold. So it's going to be interesting. And then I believe I've also read that the Watch 3 might also be a thing that might be introduced during that month. So just a few new devices if anybody's not yet on a Android device or wants to try out a little bit of a pure Android experience. You'll definitely be able to find that Android, the pure Android, experience, so to speak. Samsung does have their event coming up soon where their Pixel 7, is it 6 Fold, is going to be debuting around July, and a few more devices to come with the Pixel. So just a little update there.
Will the Watch 3 have location sharing ability on it? Do you know?
Not too certain. I haven't heard too much about it, except some leaks have come out according to like 9 to 5 Google and such that a Pixel Watch 3 is in discussion, so to speak. I have heard that the Samsung Watch 7, on the other hand, is supposed to be coming out as well, more than likely in July or August during the Pixel Fold Flip event. So everybody has their new devices there, and then plus earbuds coming up with Samsung that I've heard. Not too certain if Google Pixel will be introducing a new pair as well.
This is Janice.
Go ahead.
I got an email from Samsung recently saying that I guess your Samsung device now has a Samsung AI. Has anyone tried that? Or does anybody have any information on that?
Great question. Let's see if anybody else. Go ahead, Kevin.
So, I have limited experience with it, the Samsung version on my work phone, but I've been using it. So it's powered by Gemini. It's the Google Samsung. They didn't collaborate on the Gemini, but they integrated. That was what the big announcement for the S24 was about. And it's they're pushing some of the updates, but they still want you to update to the 24. So they're pushing some of it to the Fold and to the 23. But it just uses AI for a lot of the assistant things that you would have asked the assistant for. So now Bixby is powered by Gemini.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this is Foster, and even with the like I have a Z Fold 3, so I don't have the one latest model, but even with the Z Fold 3, the Google Assistant, like it gives you have to go in and manually do it, but you can switch it over to use Gemini. So I went ahead and switched it over to Gemini, and so that's a good way to mess around with it.
Mm-hmm.
So when you ask it questions, you can see how it responds, stuff like that. Because Google Assistant really, in my opinion, is and still is the best, voice assistant. So, and so Gemini with the AI is supposed to expand upon that.
So, Foster, does that replace your Google Assistant when you install the Gemini app?
No, you just still, say okay or hey, and it'll still respond that way.
Okay, because I put the app on my phone, but I thought it said it was going to replace my Google Assistant.
Yeah, well, it replaces when you give the voice command. It instead of using the old one, it's going to use Gemini.
Okay.
Now, Pixel's a little different, so I don't know how if they are replacing it or if it's just in the background. Because I know with the Samsung, I could go back to the old one if I wanted to.
So what I hear you saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's drawing from its information from a different place. Is that correct?
Well, so here's the thing with the AI, and we've had discussions on this before. The thing with the AI is still pulling from the internet and pulling from sources off the internet, but it's doing it in a manner to, and you guys help me out with this, to be a little more detailed and give you almost like in some cases it'll give you a response back as if you were talking to a real person. It's not necessarily just giving you a link. It's trying to put together it's trying to put together like a cohesive argument instead of sentences.
It compiles and summarizes a lot of data from a lot of different sources.
And so the issue with a lot of that now is, for example, I think it's New York Times or one of the newspapers was like suing Chat GPT because Chat GPT was pulling a lot of material from there
Mm-hmm.
archives and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the newspapers are like, hey, if you're going to be using our information, then, we need to get some type of kickback, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
because they're pushing all these AI platforms
Mm-hmm.
and the resources that they're using, that they're compiling from, is from, of course, from other resources that's already available
Mm-hmm. In the
on the
public
internet.
domain. Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of delving into a like a copyright issue in certain cases.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
And this is Kevin. If you have the Pixel 6 and above, you really don't have a choice. I think the time for the choice has ran out, especially if you have the Pixel 8 series.
Mm-hmm.
I think on Samsung and stuff, you still have a choice, but whether you have the app installed or not, Gemini is pretty much going to be it. And if you haven't made the switch and you ever do make the switch, you will not be able to go back. That I've been able to see.
See, so I installed the app, but when it said this will replace, I was like, I'm not sure if I want to do that yet. So it's just sitting there, but I haven't activated it yet.
And now they've enabled most of the features that were missing. So now you can tell it to play a song if you're using YouTube Music, and so Spotify is supposed to be, the support's supposed to be coming. But you can do some stuff that you couldn't do in Google Assistant. Like you can say,
such as what?
Like you could say some stuff you have to do on the computer, but other stuff you could say, write me a short story about a day in the park, and it will write the story and it will read it to you. Now it's doing this thing where it will actually read it automatically most of the time, but when it first launched, you would have to swipe over and hit the play button. And it's in one of the high quality voices. And so, but you can also copy that text or email it. So,
And all of this is at no additional cost. This is
there's another version that you can pay for. I don't think it's called Pro, but it's called Google Gemini Advanced or something. And you can pay for that. But if you have certain levels of OneDrive, you can get it for free.
So now on my phone, I would be able to do some of those things I do on my computer right now with Gemini. Like I would use it for, like, we're taking a trip, and a lot of times I'll ask Gemini for things that I could see along the way and restaurants to stop at and things like that.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah, and if you do something like I was testing it the other day because I was teaching a PowerPoint class, and I was like, create me a PowerPoint on Texas rivers, and it even inserted the pictures with alt text.
Wow. That's amazing.
So that's kind of like, remember years ago, Microsoft had this, I can't think of the application, but they had this app where it was kind of like PowerPoint, but a little different. But you could, I can't think of the name of it, but basically you could pull in pictures and text, and you could make presentations like that too. So now you're able to do that just by giving it a voice command, and it'll pull those pictures and stuff together and put them in slides for you.
Yeah, it basically puts the slide content so it doesn't, because, they would, now if I said create me a Google Slides presentation, it probably would come out as Google Slides, but it just tells you how to align the slides. So it tells you the headings. It tells you what to put in the speaker notes. It tells you what to put in the text field. And then it has the pictures, and it has the pictures inserted where they go, but then you can, toward the top, there's a thing where you can download a zip file of all of the pictures at one time.
And you said something about if you have OneDrive, it'll So that's with
um,
Microsoft, right?
I mean,
Or-
not OneDrive. I'm sorry. If you
Okay, Google Drive.
It's the other
Google
one.
One,
Google
Google One.
One. Yeah.
Google One. Okay, I haven't subscribed to that.
If you have Google One, if you have certain levels of the Google One,
The first one is one
then
stop.
I think they'll give you the advanced one for free.
So, Kevin, would you say right right now that it's better to wait still for a person with a Pixel before switching over? I mean, I use my Google commands for everything from calling people to
It'll
sending text
still call.
messages.
It'll
And
still call. It'll still send text messages. And now I'm sure if you haven't got the prompt, you're going to get the prompt even if you don't have it installed. But now it's integrated in messages. So now you can say, help me say, yes, I'll be there in 5 minutes. Help me say this better. You can say that in messages, or help me write this formally. And
and
it'll give you the text.
and it'll find all my, if I say find all my emails from a certain person, it will, or find
And it'll
emails
do
on
that. And
on
now
this
you can say
date from a certain
summarize.
person.
Yes. And now you can say summarize my email. So whereas the assistant, they said it was because of a privacy concern, the assistant never would read your email. But now you can get it to summarize your emails. And you might have to hit the play button, but at least you have a way of reading them. But you can also use read mode. But
Right.
yeah, so no, it says a lot of things, but it'll still make phone calls, tell jokes,
Work with all my Google Home apps and all
tell
that
you
kind
the
of stuff.
weather.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now your Google Home, it's still just the regular assistant, and you'll notice because of the voice difference. So whatever
Ah,
voice you chose for your default voice, that's still what's going to come to your speakers. So it won't affect your speakers. It might affect it if you have like a speaker with a screen, but it
yeah,
doesn't
the
affect
display.
my speakers that are just speakers. It's still just using the regular old assistant.
But I can still, from my phone, do those commands I would do, like
Yeah,
broadcasting and stuff
they
like
brought
that,
all of them.
and work with all my devices and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Yeah, so it's supposed to be integrating with Google Home now, and so you should be able to still broadcast. There might be a few things they need to do, but you should be able to change your thermostat and all that with the phone.
So is there anything that you've noticed that you could do before that you can't do if you change over?
At first there was, but then on the Pixels, I'm not sure about every other phone, but it would switch to the assistant a lot of times. If it knew that if there wasn't a part of like the weather or making phone calls at first, it would switch over. You would hear it say using the Google Assistant, like it would switch over.
Mm-hmm.
But
So
that's on
Kevin,
a Google phone.
so they haven't added it to the integrated it with like the Chromecast with Google TV.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think so.
This is Hershey. As far as Samsung is concerned, I have seen the summarization of emails and such appear on my S22 Ultra. So some of these AI features are slowly trickling into older devices and, of course, the newer devices as well. So lots of waiting, I think, and by the October timeframe, I think we'll get to know a bit better what works with what.
This is Kevin. In another place that Gemini is very prominent now is check out the new features and stuff that they added to the images part of Lookout. And so now it's more like Be My AI, where you can take a picture. You don't have to take a picture and then find it and then upload it. And so now you can take the picture right in there, and it's giving you all the description of the scene.
Is it doing a better
if you're
job
not
with the description than before?
Yes. Sometimes you have to say more details to get it to be as detailed as Be My Eyes is on
Hmm.
the Be My AI. You have to say more details, but it does give you pretty good descriptions. It's still not saying gender or anything like that, but it's doing. And now, once you take that picture and you know that it's what you want, you can actually download the picture, so you know exactly which picture it is. I don't think they've had the labeling feature that I requested years ago yet, but at least you can. And now, as you're swiping through your photos, because they're also bringing Gemini in to talk back, now as you're swiping through your photos in the photo app, it'll tell you what the photo is without you having to do any command or anything.
I wish we could put alt text on things that would just stay with it wherever it went.
Yes, I don't know
And
why they won't.
it should stay there just like all the other embedded information does, because otherwise you're doing alt text everywhere you post it. I would love for it to stay with it.
Yeah.
And if AI would put it there, that would be even better.
But so with some of this new AI stuff, it reminds me of on Apple they have the what is that called? Blind Square. You got anybody familiar with that?
Yeah, I just hear
So
my friends open it, but I don't know what it does. I think
so
they use
it
it more for GPS and menus and
right,
stuff like.
yeah, it works like GPS. So it seems like with the new AI stuff, as far as coming with Android, you'll be able to do stuff like that without even having to add a whole nother app in here. Because does it work with directions?
Well, Google already has, detailed voice guidance. So
Yeah.
when they bring the Gemini part into it, it's just gonna, just be even better. But they already have detailed voice guidance, and we were doing we have this college prep program that we were doing, and even the iOS users were saying that for the most, when they're actually using walking directions, they use Google Maps on their iPhone for guided directions. So,
Because it's supposed to now be able to help you when you get someplace to tell you information about that location if you point your camera that direction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Lots of useful tools coming about, and I guess if we are kind of satisfied with that, anybody else have any thoughts or concerns, new questions?
Well, I think the good thing about it is, especially with having these discussions, is learning useful ways that you can use it on a daily basis. Use it if you have working on special projects, things like that. So it adds another element of you being able to work, being able to work efficiently and effectively, and then you can start off with a rough draft and then put your own finishing touches on it. It's not like you're plagiarizing or just using, what it came up with. It's just giving you a good start.
Something to work with.
It's like using templates when you had Microsoft templates.
Oh God, don't bring that up.
And another thing is for any improvements, to always note that if you wanted to give feedback to Google, just for any reasons with any phone that has Android, a good place would be g.co/disability support. And we spoke about how Kevin mentioned that he has asked about a few features, and I would say that alt tag would definitely be one of those features that we should all kind of bandwagon together to ensure that we all have that specific feature set that makes it easier for us to use on the accessibility side of things. The AI is a great tool, but at the same time, there is that component of accessibility. So, give example, the circle to search on Pixel devices, you'd have to use your pass-through key gesture to be able to utilize that sometimes, and it's not it's not straightforward per se for everybody. So a few of those features can be significantly changed, especially more people that email and let them know about certain places and things. So be sure to go to g.co/disability support. And you could also get connected via email, phone calls, or use Be My Eyes as the another way of getting a hold of them. So if you ever had like a Nest thermostat issue, as I've had in the past, you're able to point the phone and kind of go through my Android phone, get it connected. So they're really helpful in that fashion.
Yeah, and I could add to that when you start a conversation with them via email, when you remember something else that you forgot about, like me, I say, "Oh yeah, and by the way," and I've been conversing with the same person for a couple of weeks now and working through some stuff. So they've been really helpful.
Well, this might be an obscure question. So, I have the Samsung Notes app, and I have notes in there. I might put in a website or something, and the websites that I put in, they would be hot once I put them in. I could just open my notes and hit the the link or whatever, the website, that would go to it. But then after an update, that was a few updates ago, it changed it. So all my, websites, .com addresses in my notes, they were no longer hot. And, does anybody know how to do that? How to make them, I've tried do I need to put a return after it or a space, and that doesn't work? Or any ideas on that? Ribbit.
This is Kevin.
All right, Kevin.
I don't use Samsung Notes. I use Google Keep because of its syncing across all devices, even non-Samsung devices or, non-Pixel devices.
What's it called? Google what?
Keep.
Keep, K-E-E-P? Uh-huh.
Yeah. And next time, so swipe to the left or the right, so you could put your focus on the URL, then tap once with 3 fingers and see if the links option shows up in the talkback. It's usually at the top. It recognizes that what you're on is a link or a URL. And most of the time the links option will come up, and then when you double tap there, then usually the closest link will show up in that list view. And then you can double tap, but I don't know if that will work for sure. But you might just have to go into help or about or whatever and submit feedback.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm also another proponent for the Google Keep app. It again, with the syncing and flexibility of it, it works quite well. And I think it also will migrate some of your Samsung Notes into that. If you look through the export on the Samsung side, you can probably export them into Google Keep, so you're not gonna have to redo everything and pull some of your data from the Samsung side.
Now, are you saying Keeps with an S or just Keep?
Keep, K-E-E-P.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And then if you're on your desktop as well, you're also able to go to your Keep notes that way. So I think it's keep.google.com. And so you'll see the same type of notes that you presented on your mobile side.
Okay. I'll give it a try.
Another thing I noticed with the Samsung Notes
Mm-hmm.
is that I could if you have a OneNote by Microsoft, you can you can what's the word? You can transfer them over into OneNote with no
Oh,
problem as well
okay.
if you use OneNote. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm like Kevin and uh, I
Hershey.
use Hershey.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like Kevin and Hershey. I've been using OneNote for a long time. And another thing I like about it is not only does it sync across devices, but you can set reminders in the notes,
Oh,
and it'll put those. If you set a reminder, it'll add the reminder to your calendar as like a task, so you
oh,
can even
okay.
see certain reminders on your calendar as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Lots of flexibility on the Android side. So previously, Samsung was partnered up with Microsoft with quite a bit fewer things, and I mean, it's not like that they're not there, but I know, like Kevin mentioned OneDrive earlier, years ago, or at least a year ago, OneDrive was part of Samsung, whereas Drive or Google One is part of the Google ecosystem. So there are those anomalies when you go through the different variations of phones that might see something similar, but I guess at the end of the day, what works for you is the best tool for you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Any more thoughts or concerns? More questions?
I have a question, this is Foster.
Go ahead, Foster.
So the Amazon app, the shopping app, just did an update. So now they have some assistant called Rufus, and I'm like Rufus and Shaka Khan. I'm like, so I have yet to try it out, but I'm like, who came up with Rufus? I have if you haven't looked at your Amazon shopping app lately, it's you know how you have your shortcuts, your home, your my account, your cart, your
Mm-hmm.
menu,
It's up there at
and
the top like that. Uh-huh.
yeah, to the next to the menu you got Rufus.
Really?
So I don't
Oh,
know how it
what's
would
that?
work with uh TalkBack because I'm low vision. So I use TalkBack seldom, but not that often.
Let's see.
Hmm.
I don't know if there's some new AI. I have yet to look it up and see what's going on with Rufus. Rufus might turn out to be my friend. I don't know.
Yeah, this is Hershey. I've heard of the name out there, but again, I kind of stay in Samsung and Pixel land more so than Amazon land. So it's hard to say, but it's probably more geared towards helping you pick items or shop a little bit easier. I would say how they had the A Lady built in. This is kind of its version of its AI model that provides us a little bit more assistance. But again, the accessibility part is yet to be unknown.
It's not on mine, so yeah, they must be phasing it in.
Well, I'm not going to even lie. My family, we are on Amazon every day. Sometimes I
Oh,
look at the shopping cart.
so
I'm like,
nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
and
looking at the
Hershey
shopping
is
cart. I'm like, why is $1,000 worth of
With
stuff
the
in the
stuff
shopping
in the
cart?
cart.
and Hershey is right. Rufus is the new AI
uh,
Oh,
for
okay.
shopping on Amazon. It helps you with it just knows what it looks at what things that you may be interested in to help you
Mm-hmm.
shop and stuff. So just another way to say, come spend more money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
so
a
Right.
Foster's going to buy me a
Yeah.
new toy. Yep. I'll let Rufus know. Tell Foster.
I mean, I know my Alexa will say, you've got a notification. You might want to order this again or whatever.
yeah.
Oh no, this is the one that kills me. My wife, she likes peppermints, and
Mm-hmm.
so it'll say, I was like, hey, uh, uh, notifications, and it'll say, yeah, it might be time to order Starlight
Like
peppermints.
more peppermints.
Yeah.
Like, dang you AI!
My question was, how did you know I was running low on this? Okay, because
Like they gauge how fast it takes you to eat them or whatever. Yeah.
okay,
Well, which is kind of scary because when you think about it, so if you ever use subscribe and save, it's automatically going to
Right.
order those things without you, having to do anything. It's like auto pay more or less. It's going to auto order it.
Mm-hmm.
But then sometimes when you ask for notifications, it'll tell you, hey, your subscribing order is about to be shipped out. If you want to cancel it, you have until such a date. But my wife doesn't even have these things on subscribe and save. So it's keeping track of how often she
Mm-hmm.
purchases
Mm-hmm.
the thing. So I'm like,
Yeah, I
so
have
this
some
is,
of
so
those
yeah.
too. Yep. Sometimes it's, oh yeah, I do need some more of that. Or sometimes, no, thank you.
Hey, this is Hershey for a quick question here since we are talking Amazon and whatnot. Is Amazon still providing 50% discount to people with disabilities?
I never even knew about that.
you mean on their Prime?
On their Prime, correct.
Oh, subscription membership.
Correct.
Still never knew about it.
I've heard it a while back that I think it was like $6.99 per month if you went that route, and it provides you, I guess, 50% off the $149 bill that you would usually get annually.
So what do you have to call customer service and let them know, or how do you?
I would say give it a good. What I'm going to have to do is just give it a quick Google search. I actually forgave my Prime account just recently. I didn't renew for this year, but I've heard that this is a cheaper route, so that could be another useful tool for us to have a little bit more savings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I gotta definitely look that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when they first came out with that, it was like if you were on Medicare or Medicaid
Oh,
or Social Security, yeah, you just had to be on something, and you would
okay.
show that you have a disability, and yeah, you would get that discount. So I would call the disability line and check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is a
That's
big state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, earlier Hershey was mentioning about the new Google products that's supposed to come out in October. Um, I'm hoping they do I'm hoping they put the same processor, the Pixelbook 2 that's going to be in the 9. So they've had plenty time to, get feedback and stuff from the Pixel 1. So I'm hoping they plan on putting the same chip in it that's in the Pixel 9.
It's going to be hard to say. It's with a lot of Google products. They usually, when they remove a product, that means that product is usually going to go to another team. So, give example to the podcast app. Google Podcasts, it went over to YouTube. So, we just kind of have to wait and see. But I know that the tablet has been one of the fairly new devices that they have introduced out there in the wild. And I heard that it also had a few features, such as if you have a Nest Cam or a doorbell, it now also does provide you with a full
frame picture or what have you. But those are minor details that might be useful for some low vision users, and maybe not so much for people that use TalkBack purely. Earlier in the call, during the introductions, I heard a couple of people had, I think, jitterbug and stuff. Anybody else ever experienced using some of the devices, or maybe might have not been jitterbug, but with any other devices other than Samsung or Pixels? Okay, that means Kevin has not had that device come on his desk yet, right, Kevin?
Oh, I held a jitterbug or two, but and I the Blind Shell Classic 2. If they make it and it's available in the U.S., I'll probably help somebody with it.
Right, right.
Which one is which one are they selling now? Is it the Blind Shell 1 right now?
They're still that's the Classic 2.
Okay, because I know what's the guy's name here? Ava Will
Yes,
was talking. I think Michael bought the what is it? Is it the
it's
Blind Shell
classic two.
Classic
No, the
2?
two.
Okay,
Yes.
the 2. He did get the 2. Okay,
Hmm.
yeah. So uh, and that uses what is it? What I forgot what version of Google that is. It's like a special Android.
No, I think they use just regular Android, but I'm sure it's several versions behind. I think the original thought was to use Android Go, but I don't think they're using Go
Go.
anymore.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's running into, because I think they had to upgrade so they could run stuff like Envision and Lookout,
Mm-hmm.
Be My Eyes and stuff like that.
Hmm. So what are there any phones that so Android Go though does it even use TalkBack or is it even work
Yeah,
with
it uses
TalkBack?
TalkBack. Mhm.
Okay, because I know some people um like I was reading a few years ago, some people have opted away from smartphones per se because they didn't want all the alerts and everything like that, and so some people have actually gone to back to candy bar style phones that run.
I think I heard of that. Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
yeah, I was tempted, but
And
I'm sorry. I love
there's another
smartphones.
project called Read Something. I mean, it has its own screen reader, or maybe that's what the screen reader is called. That's a project that Google supports, but it's another, I think it sounds like Kiwi. I think that's the name of the software, but
Yeah, yeah, it's
still
Kiwi.
can't.
Yeah, I remember reading about that some years back.
Yeah, and the screen reader is just called Readout or something like that. But Google supports that project, but so that's more for
Oh,
like candy bar, low RAM, low processor type phone.
right, right. Yeah, I remember reading about Kiwi a few years back, and you can even yeah, you can find some of those phones on Amazon. Some of them are really reasonable. I think I've seen some that's like around the $100 mark or something like that, so they're not that
Yeah,
expensive.
Well, there's another little update that I kind of came across through one of the Facebook groups about Android, and I guess the Vocalizer Voices app was missing, or maybe not missing, but it was not available on the Play Store for some time. And I found that I have it on my Pixel 6 and it works just fine. So if anybody does want a different voice, that is an option for you. Any more questions, thoughts, or concerns?
Actually, this Quentin. Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead,
I
Quentin.
don't know if it's just me and my sausage fingers, but when so let's say you're going to do a text message. So you have, you're using TalkBack, you got the edit box open, you're like, okay. I usually will use the side key and just dictate.
Mm-hmm.
It's just easier, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I hold the button. I have moments where it says, I think it says microphone on, microphone off, like literally microphone on, microphone off. And I'm like, what? So I do it again. Same thing. But then I have periods when you'll do it, you won't hear anything, and I'll say text this, and it'll do it,
Mm-hmm.
but then it's text this, text this, text this. Like it did it 3 times in this, in the edit box. So I don't know if
I
like
I get that
it's
too
just weird.
sometimes. Mm-hmm.
You know, I I don't know. I don't know how to make it not do that, but it acts really weird with TalkBack for some reason, especially
And
since they moved it.
I don't think it's just with TalkBack, because sometimes when I dictate, it'll put it in the message box twice.
Okay.
And then I thought, well, maybe I need to make certain that the microphone is off after I say it once, but sometimes it will do that. It'll
Right.
print it twice.
Yeah, it's really weird though.
So I'm wondering, this is Linda, I'm wondering for both of you, how old your phone is, and is it possible that the switch is just faulty as a connector?
I don't think that's it. I don't think
Yeah.
that's it.
The other question is, I guess you're using the Samsung engine for your dictation instead of Google Voice?
That is possible. I'll have to look at that. Well, because I use one on one and one on the other because I'm always trying to figure out which is better or which is gonna not give me grief the most. And so yeah, I definitely need to check that. But I don't know, it just got really weird when they moved they took the dictation from like the same Samsung keyboard, which I like it because of the contrast. I mean, I know everyone's like, why are you still using Samsung keyboard? I've just always used it, so I've gotten comfortable with it, but they took the little dictation button out. So it's down at the bottom left.
Right. They moved it with one
Yeah,
of the
they moved it.
updates. Mm-hmm.
But it's kind of weird because I thought it was part of the Samsung keyboard, but it's starting to seem like it's part of the assistant. So I'm like, this is weird. And I've tried to go in and search it. See, I really can't. Like before, the dictate had its own menu, like for dictation, like, and now I don't know.
If they
Best I
added
could
to
say.
Bixby,
Not quite, but they've kind of just moved things around. And again, the different engines do act quite differently altogether. Because being here, for example, I'm in India right now, and when I use dictation from Samsung's keyboard, or excuse me, Gboard, I have a really difficult time sometimes for it to even capture what I said. Whereas that wasn't an issue when I was back home in Florida. So
Yes, it
we'll
does.
see when I get back in Florida this month.
Hershey's messages are rather interesting.
Okay, point taken.
yeah. Yeah, so Quentin, one thing I did notice is because I flip flop between keyboards, um, is that I did notice that I don't know if it was like this before, but I have an option for handwriting keyboard, Samsung keyboard, and then Samsung voice input. So 3 different keyboards just for the
I might have to look
phone
at that
itself.
because remember before when you did the dictation, it would bring up the handwritten keyboard, but then give you the little dictation button in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
when they changed it, it doesn't do any of that. It's just the little mic down at the bottom, opposite the little guy,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, you I used the side, I got spoiled using the side key.
Mm-hmm.
So you hit the side key, and like I said, when using TalkBack, it's like on, off, and I'm like, what? And I'm like holding the button, and it's like on, off. No, hit it again, on, off, and I'm like, oh. And for a while, I had to make sure I focused, tapped in the edit box, let TalkBack stop talking, and then do it, and it would work, but it's not consistent. So I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point there. With Pixel now, I'm so used to hitting the power button for Google Assistant instead of dictation. So, everybody has kind of their flavor of what button you push to do what. And hopefully, with both sides, Google Voice dictation and Samsung's Voices dictation, or however it's named, things do clear up there. Again, give feedback. That's the best way we could get this stuff cleared up. And I know also we've also had some people ask questions on our mailing list. So I just want to give a quick shout out to the mailing list, which if you want to join us on the mailing list, it's iBug, IBUG, Android, ANDROID, Insight, INSIGHT, +, subscribe at groups.io. And like, for example, Mr. Ney had posted a question during the week and got to look over it. So thank you, Mr. Ney, for always contributing to the list and to the call. And
Repeat that again, please, Hershey.
Sure. Yep. iBug, IBUG, Android, Insight, +, subscribe at groups.io. You just shoot us a blank email and you'll be part of the list. And then after that, you can ask any other questions. That furthermore, once you get you should probably get a verification email that you're added onto the list. So if you had any questions in the meantime between each call, our call is held every third Wednesday. So, please feel free to always drop us a line, and we could always try to help as a community to answer your questions.
You said it's at groups. What?
.io. Yep. So iBug, Android, Insight, the +, subscribe at groups.io. That's plural. Well, any more questions, thoughts, or more insight that anybody else has?
This is Foster.
Go ahead, Foster.
Kevin, do you know if Google is still doing the Android One for like non-Pixel phones that are supposed to be working on pure Android?
I'm not really sure. I know that Nokia hasn't really released any phones in the US lately, so I'm not sure. I think they were like one of the only partners. But I haven't seen anything. I know that HDM or whatever it is called, Global, the parent company of Nokia or whatever, was supposed to be releasing its own phone. So I'm not sure which version of Android it's running, but I haven't seen any Android One phones since the last Nokia came out.
Oh, okay.
This is Hershey. I've heard just while being out here in India that like OnePlus and Oppo are also supposed to be, I guess, partnered up more with Google. So the Google One, as you alluded to, might still be a thing, but not sure as far as naming schemes. But all that Google One means is that you have a pure Android system, as you would with a Pixel, but probably with their own skin, meaning like OnePlus has their own skin on top, and Samsung has One UI as their skin on top. So those specific devices might still be a thing. I haven't seen any Sony phones, even though I heard that Sony was supposed to release a phone. So it's kind of hard to say with the naming scheme of having a pure Android device. I mean, Motorola in the United States is one of the only ones that I know that is somewhat of a Google One type device.
Yeah, I heard Sony was. I heard talk of Sony getting out of the cell phone game.
Yeah, they love their
They
cameras.
just released new phones.
They just
They
did?
did?
Okay.
They just announced and released at least
Okay.
two
Oh, okay.
phones.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, certain
Well,
markets they're pulling out, and certain markets they're still hanging in there.
Oh, okay. I see what you said. Yeah, I hated when they took the Xperia phones off of T-Mobile. That was one of my favorite phones.
So this is
Any more
Linda.
thoughts or concerns? Go ahead, Miss Linda.
I had a question about Lookout. Do other people use this?
Absolutely. Love it.
Oh yeah.
Somebody I was helping today loves Lookout, uses it a lot, and all of a sudden it disappeared off her Android phone. And she wanted to know, hey, where did it go and what happened and all that. I looked there. I couldn't find it anywhere in any of the apps or anything. I went on my phone, and my version of Lookout was just fine and usable. I went back to her phone. I had a terrible time. I couldn't get it in the apps page at all. I Googled it and discovered that there's a whole bunch of unrelated programs called Lookout. And so I had to scroll down and ask Lookout app for blind or whatever. I finally was able to install it and it worked fine. The question is does anybody know why this would have disappeared? And number two, why is it so hard to get it back? Is there something changing in the system about Lookout?
What type of phone does she have?
Well, it's a kind of an off-brand, but still Samsung Android.
Is it an older phone that maybe doesn't support it anymore?
Well, that's the anymore part that I wonder about. What is it?
Mm-hmm.
Since it worked for her for a long time, what would happen and not why?
So some phones, this is Foster. So some phones, as they're updating Android, then the apps, especially Google apps like Lookout, also get updated. So then if you're on a old version of Android, it may not support that app anymore, especially if it's a later version of it. It may not support it anymore. I've had that. I've had Android for years, and at certain points, like my phone didn't have our tablets. It happens with tablets too. My phone tablet didn't have the specs necessary to run that app anymore, so I couldn't run it. So that's a possibility.
Well, that's a great answer, and it's very helpful. Especially for the first part, that your phone probably updated and knocked it out. And it helps me to explain it to myself why it was so hard to get it back. But in fact, eventually it did come back. And so is this common with other apps for low vision? It's just kind of a surprise to me.
This is Hershey, by the way, and one quick way that I found the app to get it quickly is typing in Lookout Assisted Vision. That's what the Play Store tends to state it as. So I know that they have the Lookout app, which is a security app, but putting in Lookout Assisted Vision prioritizes that to be able to work a little bit better. The other aspect to consider could be how we're blending in some of this AI tools and whatnot. So some of these older versions of Android may not be able to run it or to give it a compatibility. So between it's hard to say what knocked it out. Sometimes hitting an app and then holding it and you just accidentally typed in uninstall or pressed uninstall, then that could be a thing too. With Samsung phones, I know that there have been callers on here with the A series phones and they work just fine. So it's kind of hard to say specifically what might have caused it, since you mentioned that you were able to find it again and install it. So there could be other variables where sometimes you might have held down the icon and then holding on the icon gives the uninstall button, and oops, I hit that button, and there goes bye-bye the app. So there are a couple different variations of what might be causing this.
This is Ava. Yes.
Go ahead, Ava.
And it can be the fact that an update was larger and it needed more memory space. And it will, because I had one of my phones, due to that, it kicked out a couple of my apps and I had to go back and pull them back in, reinstall them. But your memory space may be getting low as well, because the updates are getting to be larger and they're taking up more space. So that also will kick an app out.
Great point there, Eva. Yes, I've heard that even with Google Play, for example, you could some apps are kind of migrating. If you don't use them enough, they're kind of going into sleep mode and they don't stay on device. They kind of stay within the cloud, so to speak. So that also could be an issue there that might have came for your client.
Those are all really helpful comments, and I really appreciate it because I've got a lot of things to work on now. So thanks a lot.
Absolutely, Ms. Linda. Thank you for your question.
And another thing, Linda.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you went to the Play Store. Sometimes if you go under what's it called? Under apps, under my account and under your apps under there. Sometimes the app may still be there and you can go reinstall it that way instead of having to go look for it as well.
That's correct. Yes, this is Hershey. And
Thank you. That's also good.
If any old apps that you've had, or you might have just tested it out because you thought, man, let me go try this thing, that thing, it's all available. Anything that you put on that device is going to show up there.
Well, in this case, the client is not an experimenter. It's kind of like, I don't want to mess with anything because it's going to goof me all up. So I suspect that any of the accidental things are not as big a possibility as the update questions or the update suggestions.
Actually, Linda, a lot of the oopses happens to even some of my most inexperienced clients, because you don't think you don't realize what you've done until after it's happened. That double tap and hold, when you're trying to double tap on something, you accidentally hold a little longer, or you may have your finger on the screen and don't realize it. I've had to catch a couple of my clients and tell them be careful, because you can really accidentally either move it or uninstall it. Either move it off the home screen or uninstall it altogether and not realize you did it.
I keep thinking that one of these days, the programmers are going to come up with an equivalent to Control Z So that if you did something like that, you'd say Control Z and it goes back to the way it was before.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Another thing too, in regards to apps, is Android will tell you which apps that you are barely even using, and like Hershey said, it will retire them or put them in the cloud. Like they'll take it off your phone and put it in the cloud. So it's also kind of a good idea to go through your apps and check your usage. And if it's something you're really not using, uninstall it. So then that way it'll leave more room, leave more memory on your phone and whatnot. And, when, cause like Ava said, these updates are getting larger and larger. So if there's, apps that you're not using, you know which ones you use frequently. The other ones, you might use them occasionally. Take them off, and, so that way you just don't have a bunch of stuff cluttered on your phone and stuff is just updating.
Which makes me ask, is there a way for me to, if someplace I should go into her phone to find out how crowded it all is?
Yeah, I mean, you can look in the app drawer to see how many apps is in the app drawer. I have over 200 some apps on my phone.
Yeah, I'm horrible with that.
This is Hershey. One way to go to settings, depending on what phone it is. And if you go under apps or if you go under storage, you'll be able to at least find out how much storage is being used. And with the app section, you could at least figure out what apps are on there or what apps have been put to deep sleep, for example, as Samsung does. So those are a couple places that you might check under just to see what's being taken up or if it's other storage that's being taken up. Sometimes WhatsApp is notorious with adding lots of different details. And so, yeah, there's a couple places there to check under.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
I mean, as an example, I was getting all these notifications and beeps all during the night. My husband's like, "What is that? Why is your phone beeping?" And I didn't know what all the notifications were, so I just went under settings, apps, and just went through all of them and, just which ones am I not using and, so just cleaned it up. So it's good to do that every now and then.
Mm. Yeah, you can also look, you can also look in settings. You can also, there's like, you can go through your, like you have the notifications that you swipe down, but you can go into the notifications history and look in there and, just turn off some of the stuff or delete some, delete some of it, because all those notifications like that, every time they go through, that's draining your battery too. It's draining your battery. So some of them I leave on silent because I still want them, but I'll leave them on silent so that when they come in, it'll still be part of my notification, my notifications, but it's not beeping every every time something comes in. And you can also set some notifications, some apps you can set notifications where they only come through once a day, or like Facebook has all these quadruple cotillion notifications. You can choose which one specifically that you want to come through. So a good thing with Android is really customizable, so you can customize stuff how you want to.
One quick note just to add to Pixel device owners, Pixel Beta 3 for Android 15 is out now, which it is stable. So that means that there are not too many bugs to be fixed. So if anybody is into the tinkering land, feel free to sign up for the beta and install Android 15 beta. But that should be out within August, in the August timeframe, is what I hear. So a lot of interesting features there as well to note. And then as far as the video recording, as we talked about earlier in the show, some of those features might be available to you. So if you are into at least trying out the beta. It is stable now, and there shouldn't be too many issues. There are just some small minor fixes, such as fill-in tools that they're trying to integrate Google's products with filling in fields and whatnot. So it is on the stable end now. So if anybody is wanting to try Android 15 Beta 3, it is available. I think came out on the 18th.
Okay, y'all, just a little heads up. We have 5 minutes left in the show. So we have a time enough for probably about one more question or comment.
Yeah, I just had a quick comment. This is Foster. You know who I'd like to get on our show to come visit?
Who?
Is MKBHD.
I'll work on that.
YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Who said they'll work on it?
That's Hershey.
Yeah. Because I think he would be impressed as far as learning how, we do things. And then,
Foster,
like
how
you were
about Flossie?
Flossie might be a little too raunchy.
I mean, it would be live in here, but
It'll be real live. Yeah. Everybody bring it red cup.
your red cup. Right.
No, we trying to keep our show, okay?
That's what I said, MKBHD.
And keep me out of the principal's office. Thank
You know what? If anybody is interested in iJustine, I might be able to wiggle some wires and twirl some things and see if maybe iJustine would be able to give her perspective. I mean, I know she does use Android phones as well as iOS devices, so that's a good point, and wouldn't mind having somebody to give us their insight and kind of learn from us. Well, if there isn't any more questions or thoughts or concerns, I'm going to hand it back to Ava. I think we got to know when to come back next month, right, Ava?
Yep. The next month we'll be back on July 17th, the third Wednesday. Man, these months are going by quickly for us. Yep. So just remember, same channel, same link. And also, do not forget the Friday movie, Summer of Soul. Sounds like it's going to be a real interesting movie for Friday night as well.
And that link for you one more time is to join the mailing list is iBug Android Insight plus subscribe at groups.io. So hope to see you there as well.
All right. Thank y'all all for showing up and coming out today. I hope y'all have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see everybody back next month. And Hershey, can't wait till you get back.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining the call.
Bye, everybody.
All right.
Thank you
Goodbye.
very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Right.